It is 10:02. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzico. Women's hoops on Monday. Vanderbilt handled Illinois 75-57 in the second round at Memorial Gym. Michaela Blake's a 25-point double-double plus 9 assists as Vanderbilt moves on to their first Sweet 16 since 2009, where they will face 6th seed Notre Dame Friday afternoon in Fort Worth. The Titans made another signing on Monday, bringing in linebacker Mamu Diabate, a Browns linebacker for the last 3 seasons. And the Nashville Predators are back home at Bridgestone Arena tonight to host the San Jose Sharks. Preds riding a 4-game win streak, currently holding the second wild card spot in the West. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We've got pro days to talk about today as we continue our ramp up, less than a month now, to the NFL draft. Good morning. Hope you're off to a great start. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point throughout the course of the show with Robert, Lucas, and me. F&M Bank Chat also available to you if you would like to live stream the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So we will talk about Reuben Bain and the Miami Pro Day in just a little while. The Titans are doing 3 different stadium tours today for those of you who are interested in the progress of the new Nissan Stadium. So we can have some observations about that for tomorrow's show. I'm going to sneak on over there and catch the 1 o'clock tour. So we'll see what's new with the new home of the Titans, or the soon-to-be new home of the Titans. But we have to start with the sports that were played last night. The women's tournament, Vanderbilt rolls 75-57. And, I mean, it's not the story. Anytime you talk about Vandy women's hoops, you are required, understandably so, to mention Michaela Blake's. But last night, Lucas, did you watch the whole game? Because I bounced back and forth. I started with the UConn game, which was just an absolute demolition. Like, I guess the women's bracket, there are no close games because there was not a close game played yesterday, it felt like.
There was one possession game. No, 2. Kentucky edged out West Virginia in a game that came down to the wire. Bama fell to Louisville by 1 point. But yes, the majority of these games, I mean, when the powers that be play in the early rounds of the women's tournament, usually it's ugly, man. Yeah. 98-45. And that makes it seem closer than it was. UConn over Syracuse. Syracuse had 12 points at halftime.
It was so bad.
12 points. UConn had 65-12 at halftime. And then they were pretty even throughout the second half with UConn pulling everybody. So, and then South Carolina laid a 40-point beatdown on USC as well. So, yeah, a lot of disparity in yesterday's game. And Vanderbilt, no sweat for Vandy fans. You know what? There was one upset. 10-seed Virginia in double OT knocked off 2-seed Iowa in the Sacramento region. So I take that back.
So Michaela Blake's was still awesome yesterday. She had 25, 10, and 9. She's the 4th player, according to ESPN Stats and Info, in Vanderbilt history with at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in an NCAA tournament game. She's the first, though, since 2003. And it wasn't just her show last night. They were double-teaming her, Illinois was, and Vanderbilt had options. They were able to come up with a balanced attack and handle. It was pretty well wire to wire, that game, for Vanderbilt, who now advances to the Sweet 16. So good on Vandy on the women's side for advancing, just as the University of Tennessee does on the men's side of the bracket, which we will talk more in depth about as we get further on this week.
Sasha Washington came off the floor for the final time at Memorial Gym. Super emotional moment for her after a long Vanderbilt career, over 100 games started and played, the active SEC leader in rebounding. Extremely emotional coming off the court, hugging coaches, hugging players. And just vibes are great right now with Vandy women's hoops. Shea Ralph has just done an unbelievable job with that team. They will be favorites. In fact, let me see what the spread currently is.
Will they be favored over Notre Dame?
Oh, yeah. Vandy's the 2 seed in this situation. Notre Dame is the 6 seed in Fort Worth. That game is coming up Friday. It is a 1:30 tip-off. Vandy, 5.5-point favorites at Dickies Arena against Notre Dame. So we'll see. We'll see if the ladies can push through. This is their first Sweet 16 appearance since 2009, so making some history. They have not been to a Final Four since 1993, have not been to an Elite Eight since 2002.
So, rooting interest on both sides, local rooting interest on both sides of the men's and women's tournament. So we're obviously hoping that Vanderbilt can continue their trajectory. I haven't watched much women's basketball this year, if I'm being completely honest. The last 2 years, it felt like it had an outsized presence, if for no other reason than 2 years ago. It was Caitlin Clark mania, the final season of Caitlin Clark before she went pro, and all those different things. How you may not know this either. It may be a point of ignorance for us. But where is South Carolina in the pecking order of this thing? Or is it just UConn's tournament to win?
No, South Carolina's elite. I mean, South Carolina is one of the 4-1 seeds. I'm with you. Like, I have not been locked in all season. I operate under the assumption that it is UConn's to lose. But no.
They have been a juggernaut this year.
Slay could talk about this much more in depth than we could, but South Carolina is still an elite program and absolutely a contender to win the national championship. I am curious, just for conversation's sake, what the spread is. UConn is favored by 27.5 against 4C North Carolina.
Oh, my God.
On Friday afternoon. South Carolina is matched up with Oklahoma, where they are 18.5-point favorites. And Oklahoma's been good all year long. But yeah, a 27-point spread in the Sweet 16 is wild.
Yeah, that's a bit of an insanity. What's the biggest spread in Super Bowl history? Do we know that offhand? Because I heard the Super Bowls have not been competitive in the last couple of years, and that I feel like people were accustomed to that. For a large majority of the NFL's existence, Super Bowl's the final game of the year, wasn't particularly close. And then we've had a really good run, I would say, the last 15 years.
According to StatMuse.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, go on.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
What do you want?
You requested courtesy, and I have given you courtesy in the way that I open a window for you to speak on the show, okay? So I expect that courtesy
he's opened a window for you,
to be returned.
Oh, hello out there.
Oh, how benevolent.
Hello, everyone outside my window.
How benevolent of
Keep it
him.
up. I will send your ass to the shadows so fast.
He can literally shut your mic off any given moment.
And I choose not to. I choose
That's
to
right.
let you
I think he is the benevolent one in this case.
I don't think that's true.
Allow you to pilfer through everyone's thoughts.
Who's allowing
and
who to
mine.
talk here?
We like to guess on this show. I hate when Lucas looks it up ahead of time.
The guessing game is fun. We're very bad at it, famously.
All right, go ahead.
Do you have any guesses? Anyone?
Of the biggest spread in Super Bowl history?
Yes.
I'm going to say 14 points. Two touchdowns in a Super Bowl seems crazy.
That's tied for third.
Okay, really?
Yes.
17?
A little higher.
Surely not 3 touchdowns.
18.5 in 1995 for the 49ers and the Chargers, and then an 18-point spread for the Baltimore Colts and the Jets in 1969.
Did the Niners cover that 18 and a
They
half?
did, yes.
Yeah.
They won by 23.
I would have thought Eagles-Patriots when Foles started at quarterback.
I would have thought Giants-Patriots. That was a 12.5-point spread.
Yeah, the Eagles, I'm trying to remember that Eagles run because Wentz was an MVP candidate. They were just a good team top to bottom. So I would not have guessed, understanding that they were playing with a backup quarterback. How many games did Foles play in the regular season? Because Wentz tore his ACL against the Rams at the Coliseum, right? It was like a Sunday night game. It was a primetime window game. I remember because he had like a quarterback sneak situation and all of a sudden his knee just buckled. I can't remember how many games Foles played in the regular season prior to the playoffs beginning. I know it was probably at least the midway point because Carson Wentz was the leading candidate for MVP at the time.
2017, he started 3 games for them, and he went 2-1.
3 games down the stretch. So I think there was enough of a sample size that you weren't going to make him a double-digit underdog against the Patriots.
Yeah, but it's Tom Brady.
Sure. And the fact that it's still we've talked about, in the lead up to Super Bowl, the Super Bowl that you associate with like the best Super Bowl that you've ever watched. For me, it's always going to be the Malcolm Butler interception, Seahawks Patriots. But Nick Foles out-dueling Tom Brady to the tune of damn near 500 yards passing is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. It was one of the most electric Super Bowls I can remember. So we will get into some pro day stuff here on the show today because Reuben Bain did work out. You have headlines?
I have a few.
NFL headlines are next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you if you are somebody who struggles with performance. If you are somebody who's experienced this or ED in the last couple months, even years, procrastination is not going to help your situation. Ignoring the problem does not solve it. And the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men over the course of the last decade plus find solutions that make sense for them as an individual. No one size fits all. There's no more excuses. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is the state's first men's health-focused urology practice, with multiple urologists and providers focused solely on male performance. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. Since 2014, they've pioneered men's health in Tennessee and have been testing and growing to make sure you get the best care and the safest, most effective treatments. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book online in under 30 seconds at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Oh, we have the Pro Days. We have a new highest paid player at their position, and we have flag footballers dominating NFL players on the gridiron. For all that and more, we go to Lucas Panzica with NFL headlines.
We will talk about the victory lap that some of these flag football lifers are and should be doing.
Too much tongue.
After the weekend. But we, of course, have to begin with the newest highest paid receiver in National Football League history, Jackson Smith-Njigba, the NFL Offensive Player of the Year after a monster year with the Seattle Seahawks. Signs a 4-year, $168.6 million contract extension, over $120 million guaranteed. It averages over $42 million per year for a guy who had 119 catches, 1,793 receiving yards, and 10 touchdown catches, and that's just in the regular season. He added another 17 catches for 199 and 2 scores in the Seahawks Super Bowl run. So well-deserved, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, talk about a year 2 leap, or no, year 3 leap. Right? Wasn't Smith-Njigba a 2023 draft pick?
That sounds right. I don't remember off the top of my head. But if he's extension eligible, at least.
Yeah.
So Jackson Smith-Njigba, new highest paid receiver in league history.
Does his quarterback make him better, or does JSN prop Sam Darnold up? And I'm sure it's kind of like the Brady Belichick.
Does not have to be one or the other.
Well, I do think that when you are considering positional value, you're right. It does not have to be exclusively one or the other. But when you're trying to figure out how much of your salary cap to dedicate to one position, and it's a very positionally dependent position in wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba is the most important offensive player on the Seahawks. It's a tough argument to make because you would say, well, no, the most important offensive player on any offense is the quarterback. But there's a lot of, I think that Sam Darnold is a good enough quarterback to give JSN that level of production, just as he was for Justin Jefferson when he was at the Vikings. I'm always curious about how teams view premium positions like wide receiver and what percentage of your cap you truly think that player is worth, if for no other reason than, the Titans case study a couple of years ago where John Robinson was not willing to give A.J. Brown, it wouldn't have been a market resetting contract, but it would have been a market value contract with if I remember at the time was around $25 a year when A.J.'s extension was due, and they deemed that it was not worth it here. Obviously, that was a mistake in retrospect, but for the Seahawks, I think it makes all the sense in the world. I think it makes more sense than them making any effort, what little effort there was to retain Kenneth Walker. Their money is better spent on JSN.
I love this dude. I love him because he's not a player. He's not a Calvin Johnson Megatron, right? And Calvin Johnson is like the most extreme example when you talk about measurables.
You mean physically?
Intangibles. Yeah, he's 6 foot 197. When you talk about a pure technician,
he's so smooth.
The 20th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft, and even more impressive, the next guy that's about to get a big payday at this position in that same division was a 5th-round draft pick in the 2023 draft class. That is Puka Nacua. How much does this set the market for Puka Nacua, who also had a monster 2026-5 season? What year is it?
You okay over there? What year is it? What day is it?
He's like, hold on. The left side of my face is feeling very droopy.
Early onset dementia? What's going on over there, bud?
Important to note, though, with the JSN contract, before we move on, they still had 2 years of team control remaining. Mm-hmm. So he is technically under contract for 6 years at 195 or 195 total, which brings the APY to 32.5. So a much more tolerable number when you realize that they can spread the signing bonus and other money throughout the whole deal. So when you look at it as a whole, that APY is so high. Like, he's not Jamar Chase, but he doesn't have to be when you look at what the money actually is.
Mm-hmm. It's a way better deal for Seattle than I think it is. It's not a bad deal for him, right? Because it's generational money no matter how you slice it.
And he gets 120 guaranteed.
but it's a way better deal for Seattle because it gives you, I mean, he's under contract through 2031. It's not quite the Mahomes 10-year contract where you can restructure and move money around as you see fit as different contracts become problematic and you're still trying to keep your quarterback, right? The Nacua thing, does Puka get dinged at all because of the quarterback that he plays with and the system that he's in? Or is it just the market's the market, pay me what I'm due? Because if I was negotiating against Puka, I would say, well, let's see you do it without Matthew Stafford and without Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to test your market value, bud, we'll let you hit free agency if the money gets to be a certain amount. Because Puka Nacua is obviously a very high-level player. He's one of the best wide receivers in the sport. And the fact that he was a fifth-round find, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A fifth-round pick by a team that obviously understands how to scout on day 2 and day 3. That's where the bulk of their talent acquisition is. Robert had the fact a couple of weeks ago that the team that has used the most draft picks of any team in the last 5 years is the Rams. They're just not doing it in the first round. They're doing it volume on day 2 and day 3. So if you're the Rams, do you just say, well, I'll find another one? Or do you actually, is Puka Nacua so important for them? I know.
No, you pay Puka Nacua, man. He's a monster.
To a point. You don't pay, it's not blank check JSN 42.
I don't know.
He is not the same caliber of player as these kind of freakish wide receivers that we're talking about. He's an excellent player. He's a tough player.
Robert, where are you with this? I'm having a hard time with this. I think Puka is an absolute monster and a game changer.
Yeah, he was a rookie year dominator. Like, I would have trouble not paying him top of market.
Yeah, man.
Top of market?
Yes, I would pay him the exact same deal that JSN got.
Agreed.
No problem.
Dude has...
I would not lose one wink of sleep over this.
Over 4,000 receiving yards in 3 seasons.
The dude turns 20...
I'm not saying that he's not going to get it from somebody. I'm just saying, if you're the Rams, do you have to do that deal?
The Rams felt more than capable paying older players who are lesser of a player than he is this money. I mean, look at the wide receiver across the field from him.
How much is Lavonte getting?
Like 25, 22, something like that. Or no, I think it might be 30. I think he's getting 30 a year.
Yeah, I think it'd be so insane.
That's probably about right because DK's around 30.
Yeah, like I would have no problem. Dude's going to turn 25 this year. Like, he is in his prime. If you're going to pay him ahead of time, you got him till he's 29. Do what good teams do. Pay him and then ship him off, just like the Eagles are about to do with A.J. Brown. Not at the peak of his powers. Father Time is sapping some of his athletic ability, but that doesn't make him less acquirable. Some team would pay you 4 years from now for Puka Nacua off of his resume. Like, I would not lose a wink of sleep if the Rams were like, yep, 40 a year for 4 years, 160, 120 guaranteed. Thanks for getting our deal done, Seahawks.
It would be so insane.
And they age well, right? Like, it's not something to get overly caught up in the price point. Because of the way, again, the NFL broadcast rights are up for renegotiation. Why do you care about that? Because it means more salary cap money for anybody, for everybody.
To put it into context, they're in the same draft class. Puka Nacua has played 7 less games than Jackson Smith-Njigba in the regular season, which is a credit to Smith-Njigba, who has yet to miss a game in his NFL career.
Game.
Yeah, and Puka had, he's had injury stretches. 2024, he missed 6 games. So, but he did come back for the postseason. Extremely healthy this past year. Dealt with some stuff later in the year, but played all 17 games in his rookie year. But he has played 7 less games than Smith-Njigba in the regular season, and there is still a pretty big disparity. I mean, over 600 more yards than Jackson Smith-Njigba. He has 1 less touchdown, and I understand the quarterback situations are very different, have been much more favorable to Puka Nacua with Matt Stafford than Geno Smith and then Sam Darnold.
But if you're trying to help your next quarterback out because Stafford's 37, you could do it with a lot worse help than Puka Nacua.
And that would probably be my argument for not paying him. If you thought there was an opportunity that Stafford, it's well thought of, that he's not going to play another year, and someone offers you 2 1s for him and it could jumpstart it, and they don't take a quarterback this year in the draft as the heir apparent, I could see them not paying him in a form of getting picks back to then rebuild their roster. But if it's just a flatly, do they pay him or not? Are they scared off by the price? I would be uber surprised if they were scared off by the price.
Do you think the off-field stuff impacts him at all?
Who?
Because he's a little immature.
I don't think so. I think, and they kind of talked about this too. What happened?
I just mean generally. Like, yes.
Oh, sure. But like, think about the off-field stuff that guys have overcome.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Candle.
I'm not doing comparison shopping. I'm saying him. Does that impact him at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so either.
It's just him being a bit of an immature young goofball, but like, dude's not like getting arrested and, assaulting women.
He's just doing anti-Semitic symbols on a stream with a.
He didn't know.
I think that was just him being dumb, and dumb. Anyway,
I don't think that's the way to excuse that particular situation, but we don't have to get bogged down. What else, Scott?
Yeah, that's crazy. The more I think about that, to say the Rams should consider letting go of Puka Nacua. Like circus catch after circus. What does this guy have to do? Anyway, flag football. When I think flag football, I think, this was at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. So what's the flag football thing happening in Saudi Arabia?
It's not anymore. They moved it to LA.
Okay, that's what this is.
Because of the conflict in the region. Obviously, the Saudi airport has been, the Abu Dhabi airport has been shut down because of everything going on in Iran.
So the Fanatics Flag Football Classic happened in Los Angeles over the weekend. Basically a 5-on-5 flag football tournament that was held, I believe, on Saturday. And Team USA, made up of flag football players, destroyed every team that was chock full of NFL players.
Yeah, one's close.
Current and former. We're talking about...
It's like 106 to 48, I think, between the two
106 to 44.
106 to 44.
I mean, we're talking about Joe Burrow and Tom Brady out there slinging it, Jaden Daniels, Stephon Diggs, Odell Beckham catching one-handers.
We haven't done birthdays in a while. A very happy 50th birthday to Peyton Manning, as a quick aside, as Tom Brady is 48 years old. Peyton 50 today.
So Team USA beat the Wildcats 39-14, the Founders 43-16. They beat in the final the Wildcats again 24-14. Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the Wildcats. That, you may notice, is a much lower score in the final of this tournament, 24-14. That's because Kyle Shanahan is playing ball control because he can't afford to give Team USA more possessions because of the way they were dicing up NFL players. It was fascinating to watch just from the clips. I'm not going to pretend like I sat and watched flag football on a weekend where, the second round of the NCAA tournament is happening.
I watched a half of the second game, which was the more competitive of the two games. Jalen Ramsey got flagged for contact because obviously you can't hit in flag football, and Jalen Ramsey got a little carried away. Luke Kuechly, liability out there. Luke Kuechly not able to operate in a flag football capacity was one of the crazier things I've ever seen.
God, I'd still put pads on that dude, though. God, he still looked like he could play regular football. Like it was the flags that were the issue.
Robert, this may be a finable offense. You can find me if you want to.
I already know what you're going to say.
Well, it's fine. It's fine.
It is fine.
It
is a fine.
Ahead of it. So I was at the same gym as him this was 2 weeks ago. I don't think I've ever been more intimidated in a workout setting than seeing Luke Kuechly work out. It was terrifying.
How long did you watch? Did your eyes linger?
It's hard not to. Like, he paces very aggressively, like between sets and stuff like that. And he's larger than I think most people would imagine a linebacker is somewhere. What is Luke Kuechly's measurables? Is he 6'3"? Is he 6'4"? He's a lot bigger without pads on than I thought he was going to be. I mean, obviously he was an excellent player. His career, it's a shame that injuries derailed it earlier than it might have otherwise ended, but I blew me away. Like, it's just like, that guy would still rip your face off. What are the measurables on Luke Kuechly? Did you look it up?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you were looking something
up. He's 6'3".
There you go. Yeah, Luke Kuechly working out next to you at a gym, I feel like would be like playing beer league hockey and like a recently retired Preds player decides to hop in for a game. It's like, I kind of just want to go home now. This is messed up.
Well, Lawan did that Beer Olympics thing a couple of years ago, and like just those dudes in competitive settings, like former athletes and like Mike Chandler and all these different people.
Oh, were you there?
Yes.
Yeah, Buck was like his iPhone out, just grifting.
Well, yeah, I was scared for our friend Jack McPherson's life. Quentin Nelson won a game of beer pong, then picked it up and airlifted him into the pool. It was terrifying for him. Anyway,
So,
go ahead.
a victory lap here for the career flag football players that spoke out. One in particular. Now, Robert, can you help me out? I feel like you remember how to pronounce this man's name.
Daryl Doucette.
Is it Doucette?
I think it's Doucette.
Okay.
I think it's Doucette.
Well, the nickname is Hoosh.
Yeah, and he ripped
So it
it
may
up.
be, yeah.
He ripped it up this weekend. And he caught a lot of flack for saying these guys cannot play at the level that we can play at in flag football. They don't know the game like we know the game. And he was absolutely correct. I heard Ramon talk about it a little bit this morning, the multitude of differences. But from my dumb, layman, naked eye watching this, just the way these guys are moving to avoid getting, is there a term? What's the term for
Tagged?
getting
Maybe?
tagged?
Like getting your flag pulled?
Yeah. Is it just that you get your flag pulled?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
But being able to move their hips and drop their body levels
It's
to
insane.
avoid, the guy that kind of like moonwalked through and got to the end zone.
It's what I imagine the
God.
real life Matrix would look like,
Yes.
the way that these guys move.
They have eyes in the back of their head. They know where everybody's hands are going to be reaching for those flags. It's such specific, like, torso movements to twitch away and avoid getting your flag pulled. That is completely different from what an NFL player would be used to. So maybe we should have listened to him. And we shouldn't be so surprised that the NFL guys got absolutely throttled over the weekend. And what could this mean for the 2028 Olympics, where NFL players are going to play as flag football is instituted for the first time into the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles? Will it be a mixture of NFL guys and career flag football guys, or is it supposed to just be NFL guys? Because if so, then after watching this, that's messed up. These dudes need to be representing the United States.
The reason that the Hoosh quote got so much air or so much oxygen, I think it was in 2024, because Jalen Hurts was selected as like the representative for flag football when Jalen Hurts has never obviously competed in flag football. And so that brought about the quote from Hoosh where he's saying, I don't think it's controversial to say that I am better at flag football than Patrick Mahomes would be because I've played it my entire career. It's very different. And he got dragged, and we can play the audio later because this is my own no. But I think that the premise is that the flag football players proper are going to represent the United States. We've still got 2 more years till the
2028.
Yeah, so 2 more years until the Olympics. Tom Brady would be 50. Is Tom Brady going to train exclusively for flag football?
He looked phenomenal, I will say. Like, Brady
he scored
was
13 points. He didn't. He threw a nice touchdown to Diggs.
the one to Gronk too in the corner of the end zone where Gronk tweaked his hamstring.
And the Diggs one, man, just the placement on that, like.
Yeah, he can place the ball. Yeah, he can play.
You
catch.
think that he didn't go out there and I think he sits there in the booth for Fox and stews every Sunday thinking, I could make that pass. I could do that better than that guy could.
Yep, he's Uncle Rico now. He's Uncle Rico.
He's absolutely Uncle Rico. So, I mean, yeah, I guess if Tom Brady wanted to exclusively train for flag football for the next 2 years and at age 50 go out there and compete, but like.
This is why Giselle left you, by the way. This is why Giselle left you.
This is actually why.
100% why Giselle left you.
Yes.
You're trying to have a date night at Nobu or wherever the hell famous people eat. And she's like,
how old are you?
Just trying to look into her eyes. Or she's just looking at him like wishing she would say something about her haircut or how her forearms are getting more toned from all the judo she's doing. Your instructor must really be putting you through the paces. And all he can think about is Spider 2XY banana.
Yeah, this is reportedly why she left him. Correct. Because Tom Brady is so locked in on football that he neglected Giselle.
Man, I would encourage anybody to go watch this dude, Doucette, the quarterback of Team USA.
He's freakish.
I thought you were going to say I would encourage anyone to avoid their wife to the point of divorce.
No, that's something that you would say.
Yeah. I mean, I
love you, baby.
It's so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch the movements. I mean, it's so cool. So that dude needs to be playing for the United States in 2 years.
On Brady, though, like you wouldn't want Tom Brady to be your flag football quarterback because he can't move. Right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about the
be
quarterback.
nimble.
Yeah, he's very much like, as a passer, he still looks great. But that's not what the game is in flag football if you're the quarterback. Anyway, those are the headlines.
Those are the headlines.
Very good. What do we have to give away, if anything?
we have some tickets to see Hardy. You guys big Hardy fans?
Sure.
Heck yeah.
I don't think I could name a song.
But
that's an indictment of me. I know Hardy's very popular.
Yeah, he a big act. He hosted the Nashville portion of the New Year's Eve special. He's a really big act. A lot of people made fun of him for his concert he did with WWE, where everybody was like, we're going to call him Farty instead of Hardy. But still a great act and a great ticket.
Okay.
If you're into that sort of thing.
Way to sell it. Lucas and I just stared at each other, and you're like, yeah, people call him Farty.
Or Hardee's. He's getting a little big.
615-737-1045. If you want those tickets to the upcoming Hardy show, you said it's where, Bridgestone?
It's somewhere. My computer's.
All right, very good. We'll find out for you. We'll find out where for you here in just a second. But you also get a $100 gift card to a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa if, and only if, you call in and give us your own note. What, Robert?
Okay. Nothing.
That was very soft.
I have nothing. We have 2 tickets to see Hardy at The Truth on October 29th, plus a $100 A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card. Hardy is bringing Hardy Halloween to The Truth on October 29th and 30th with special guests McCoy Moore, Casey Tyndale, and Sicarus on select nights. Tickets on sale Friday, March 27th.
The Truth?
The Truth.
Oh, that's the new venue in Wedgwood, Houston. That is going to be.
Which is owned by the people that own the artists. I can't remember who the label is that owns it, but there are 2 labels that own venues in Nashville now, and that is one of them.
Oh, okay. I just, I don't know how much time either of you spend in Wedgwood, Houston, but that is going to be a nightmare from a logistical standpoint. There's just one lane in, one lane out type of deal. Anyway, if you want those tickets, give us your own note next.
Oh, no!
For the opportunity to win 2 tickets to the upcoming Hardy show, not Hardee's, but Hardy, at the new music venue that's coming to Wedgwood, Houston, called The Truth, and a $100 gift card to a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. 615-737-1045 is the number. All you got to do is call in and tell us what in sports made you say, oh, no. So ESPN has had a run of crazy headlines here in the last couple of weeks, I would say. We did not discuss the men's college basketball coach, the assistant coach that was fired from his job at, I believe, a D2 or D3 program because he was moonlighting as a pimp. We did not get to that story in our journalistic efforts. That headline sent me sideways a couple of weeks ago. This one might be even crazier. This is on ESPN.com as of an hour ago. Quadruple amputee cornhole player fatally shoots man, authorities say. And I'm just reading directly from the newser here. A county sheriff's office in Maryland said Monday that a professional cornhole player who is also a quadruple amputee fatally shot a passenger in the front seat of a car he was driving during an argument. The cornhole player's name is Dayton James Weber. He's 27 years old, arrested and charged as a fugitive from justice by police in Albemarle County, Virginia.
Albemarle.
All right. Albemarle County, Virginia. Albemarle. All right. It's like Chevville.
Yes.
All right.
North Carolina has one of them, too.
Either way, a quadruple amputee begs the question, how do you fire the gun, much less, and I'm unfamiliar with Dayton James Weber, but much less how do you play cornhole as a quadruple amputee? So this guy is already beating the odds on a number of fronts. How on earth do you pull the trigger of a gun as a quadruple amputee?
You're asking the right questions. I mean, my question would be, if he's a cornhole player with no arms or leg, like, what's his handicap?
Do you get a handicap in cornhole? Like professionally?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. But did you see the thing that came out yesterday? I feel kind of bad for him. He got fired from his job, too, at IHOP. Yeah, it's going to be tough now that he doesn't have a job.
He murdered somebody.
No, he doesn't have money to pay for a lawyer. You know that's going to cost an arm and a leg.
Stop.
Somebody lost their life.
Jesus.
I mean, I agree with you. It's terrible. He doesn't have a leg to stand on.
You told me that you said you weren't going to say anything during this segment because you didn't want to make problematic jokes.
I heard that it happened because security was light at the event. They were shorthanded.
Stop it. All right. What is it?
Cam Scataboo made me say, oh, no.
His wife's name was Eileen.
Man's going to go to prison for a very long time.
Somebody died, Robert. You're making IHOP jokes.
No, you don't get to do. You're the one that brought it up.
I'm doing this for
you
them.
Settle down. We'll get to your Scataboo CTE nonsense
when
in a
you
second.
bring it to the table, you take accountability for anything else that comes. Yes. You do not get to chastise Robert when you're the one that sat here and teed it up and then get.
He said he wasn't going to say anything and then immediately rattled off
this is
7 jokes.
That's on you,
this
brother.
This is like buying your kid a BB gun and being like, don't shoot anything you're not supposed to. I'm not going to watch you.
No, this one's on you.
I thought by taking the gun away from you that would then limit the amount of bullets that you had to fire. No.
The victim probably thought the same thing.
No, this one's on you. Cam Scataboo joined a podcast called Bring the Juice with Frank Delina and made some controversial comments about CTE and not just CTE, but also asthma as excuses for athletes at any level. This was Cam Scataboo on said podcast.
Pretty kind of taken off, like, okay.
Run through my
I get to play. Yeah, exactly.
You think CTE is a real thing?
No. It's an excuse.
I think asthma's an excuse, too.
Yeah.
Is that a hot take?
No, that's a good
That's
take.
valid.
Yes, asthma's fake.
Is there anything worse than when you're in 4th grade and someone's huffing and puffing, you're just soft?
Yeah, just literally
Be better.
breathe air.
This is crazy. Awful Announcing wrote an article about it, and they write in the article, prior to the comments, Scataboo was telling Delina that he couldn't remember if the viral story about him putting pads on and running into telephone poles as a kid was true. And then he's asked if CTE is real. He says point blank, no, it's an excuse. The Pro Football Talk article on this, the first line is...
I haven't heard the audio. The asthma stuff is honestly almost more offensive than
brutal.
the CTE
It's
stuff.
brutal.
Just breathe.
And it's hard to tell if they're like actually doing a bit and joking versus just being dumb blockheads. I don't know.
I'm sure he's leaning into it. But
the opening line in Mike Florio's article is, maybe Cam Scataboo should stick to eating crayons. And he goes on to talk about all of the comments. Cam Scataboo has issued an apology. He tweeted over the weekend, I recently did an interview and had a lapse in judgment, which resulted in me making a tasteless joke about CTE and asthma. It was never my intention to downplay the seriousness of head injuries or asthma. I sincerely apologize to anyone offended by my remarks. I assure you I'll be more mindful and respectful going forward. Much love.
nobody believes that he's going to be more mindful and respectful, right? He's just going to bash his head into another wall and say something problematic.
The other thing,
Why do we care what Cam Scataboo thinks about CTE?
The Awful Announcing article comments that he has previously said he doesn't fear any potential brain damage from playing football. Like, no, we get that. Yeah, that's
evident.
That
Yes.
comes through for sure.
That is clear.
Yeah, Cam Scataboo made me say, oh, no.
God almighty.
Speaking of people, why do we care what they have to say? Logan Paul also participated in the flag football event, and he is not my dumbest thing in sports or my own, no, because dumbest thing in sports is tomorrow. He was able to say after the game, tweeted at Jalen Hurts, hey, wanted to apologize to Jalen Hurts for sacking him in that game, also deflecting a pass that ended up being picked off. It brings the question, why the hell would any of these NFL players play in this league? Why would you give any one of these people any opportunity to hit you, to touch you? Joe Burrow was tackled to the ground.
And Joe Burrow was like trying to juke people out.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not a good look, man. Like, I get it. I understand it. But if you're Jaden Daniels, you just missed like half the season, dude. I don't want you playing out here with other, like, you can say whatever you want to say about them, influencers. They're athletes. They're athletes, and you're putting yourself in peril's way. I think it's a terrible look. I think it's stupid. I would have thought it was stupid if Lamar did it. If anyone in the NFL did it, I would think it's dumb.
Because Derrick Henry was supposed to do it and then opted out. I'm sure you would have been happy about that.
I would have been happy that he opted out, but it makes no sense to me why. And maybe other positions you could make a smaller. Okay, Derrick Henry's not going to be hitting anyone, Derrick Henry, but you're still on a football field.
Well, don't we just think that the NFL is going to do what the NHL did with Olympic? I know that the NHL players participated in the Olympics this year, but that's the first in how many years? Like, don't we think this is just going to be like Marcus Mariota had a clause in his rookie contract about not being allowed to surf because of injury liabilities and things like that?
Right. People put them in their contracts all the time. You're not allowed to ride jet skis.
Yeah,
yes.
all these different things. Like, that just feels like the NFL, where there's a lot more money at stake than there is the NHL. It feels like we would have contract clauses.
Well, and a conflict of interest when one of your owners is participating in this event. Like, you don't think that he's spinning
Literally.
it? Like,
Okay, like we don't actually care about conflicts of interest, because if we cared about conflicts of interest, Nick Saban would not be on television and also getting a paycheck from Alabama. Bruce Pearl would not be on CBS actively promoting nepotism. Like, people don't actually care. It's just a fake outrage.
People don't care about that, but I do care about Tom Brady being in team meetings and having calls with coaches.
Oh,
I care about that.
I agree, but I think the larger public does not give a single solitary damn. It's just like something that catches their attention for 5 seconds and then you move on with your day.
No, I think people care. It's just the people that actually matter in making those things happen don't care.
Right.
Robert is absolutely right. As a Bengals fan, oh my goodness, the wince, the cringe, anytime Burrow makes any movement. He's juking around back there. Like, he's evading.
He's right at home. Hell, that's like an NFL regular season game for him. He's like, I do this every week, dude.
Let's quickly rattle through some of these. Tyler's in Clarksville.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Well,
My oh-no in sports is that game-winning shot that Vanderbilt took. They went in and out. You seen the excitement on everybody's face, and then it just dropped when the ball fell right out of the round.
it's tough. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. That's
heartbreaking.
It's a heartbreaker for Vandy. Rob is in Inglewood.
Hey, gentlemen, as a sidebar, just to let you know how ironic a cornhole champion will be going to prison where he can be a two-time cornhole champion. But my no in sports has got to be the double dribble that didn't get called against Vandy that precluded the heartbreaking shot. Obvious double dribble, and they don't call it. So it licked all the red off my candy cane.
That's good.
Rob,
Thank you for the call.
you call whenever you want, Rob. That was
That's
fantastic.
a good call. That's a good call, just from start to finish. Great execution. Sterling is in Murfreesboro.
What's going on? Buck, you stole mine. But, yeah, it's going to be definitely the quadruple amputee cornhole player. As somebody who plays in a lot of these cornhole tournaments, it's not easy to get in to becoming what you call a pro. And for somebody with his, not having arms and legs, that's definitely the biggest no. You had something good going and shot somebody and dumped the body on the side of the road.
The details on the story are
He dumped the body?
insane. I'm telling you.
He drove off with it.
Read this ESPN article. The details are nuts.
A bad person. He is unarmed and dangerous.
I don't even know how you would do that. Like, drop the tailgate and then, like, go forward really. I did. It went right over my head.
He has arms.
Let's go ahead and give the tickets to Rob, right? Rob wins the tickets. That licked the red off my... I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, sure. What the Rob? Oh, my God. Let's just get out of this segment. We're going to get in trouble. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
It is a wonderful time of year, the kind of time of year where you can just park your butt on the couch and not get up for 8 hours straight of basketball. Well, that picks back up this weekend, Thursday through Sunday, with second weekend action. And what better way to take it all in than with a big jumbo bucket of Hattie B's hot chicken. You can download the Hattie B's app today, order for pickup or delivery at any one of their Middle Tennessee locations, whether that's Melrose, Midtown, Broadway, West Nashville. Even if you're inside of Geodis Park taking in a Nashville SC game, you can enjoy Hattie B's hot chicken. And if you download the app, you can start to build up rewards. They will give you a free dessert simply for downloading the app. You have to try that banana pudding and thank me later. It's the best hot chicken in the world. The sides, if you're like me, you put heavy priority on the sides. Well, Hattie B's does too. They are scratch made. They taste like Mama made them with that pimento mac and cheese, the southern greens. I could go on. Download the Hattie B's app today and fuel your watch parties this weekend with Hattie B's. 11:04, good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint, Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzico. Women's hoops action on Monday. Vanderbilt handled Illinois 75-57 in the second round at Memorial Gym. Michaela Blakes with a 25-point double-double plus 9 assists as Vandy moves on to their first Sweet 16 since 2009. They will face 6th seed Notre Dame Friday afternoon in Fort Worth. The Titans made another signing Monday, bringing in linebacker Mahmoud Diabate, a Browns linebacker, for the last 3 seasons. The Nashville Predators are back home at Bridgestone Arena. They host the Sharks. Preds riding a 4-game win streak, and they hold the second wild card spot in the West. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
So Tennessee is in the Sweet 16 on the men's side of the bracket. Vanderbilt is representing the city of Nashville in the Sweet 16 on the women's side. Congratulations to both for advancing. But I was thinking about this because we brought up, just as a aside the other day, Sister Jean, and that there's no real figure, like charming figure that captivates America, that feels like it's, you know, the Cinderella type of story. We don't have it this year. You would say that's accurate? The closest thing to a Cinderella in the remaining 16 teams is whom?
Is Iowa, who is Cinderella with a different uniform. Because do you know who Iowa's head coach is?
It's not McCaffrey anymore.
No, it's Ben McCollum, the former head coach of Drake.
Oh, okay. Drake,
right out of the Missouri Valley. 4 out of Iowa's 5 starters in that game against Florida, Drake transfers.
Okay.
So Cinderella is still around, just got a different look about them.
Well, and that, I think, is the point that I would like to make about what NIL is going to do to the tournament this way. Because those are all players that transferred. They got a coach who then brought his players in. It's a similar situation to Indiana, right? A bunch of JMU players coming from James Madison with Kurt Signetti and playing, you know, meaningful roles at every level. Iowa, though, as a university, as a basketball program, and I had to look this up, according to Sports Reference, Iowa has been to the Final Four how many times, Lucas?
I would guess 0.
3.
Oh.
They have 3 in their history, and they've played, you know, over 100 seasons of Iowa basketball. So in the modern tournament era, they have made 3 Final Fours in
When's
the
the last one?
tournament. I don't have that in front of me. They have not won a championship.
1980.
So, again, it's been a while, but this is not a program without history, right? The rest of the field is Arkansas, Tennessee, Duke, Michigan. These are all power conference brands. The closest we got to a meaningful upset, to a Cinderella story, was High Point, and then Robert very quickly urinated on the entire High Point experience.
Yeah, well, also Darius Acuff did the same thing. He just went crazy. High Point pushed Arkansas in that game. Like
they did.
There's a world in which High Point wins that basketball game to get to the Sweet 16. But yeah, this is back-to-back years now of a Sweet 16 without a true Cinderella, a mid-major or double-digit seed.
So I say I don't think that NIL is going to outright kill Cinderella stories in the tournament. But I feel like they're going to be so much more few and far between, where the Cinderella programs are getting poached by Iowa, by Michigan, by Tennessee doesn't necessarily have any of these. But, I mean, all these different mid-major programs that might have talent that they can make at least some kind of a run in. Even the... Who was it? Was it FAU or FIU a couple of years ago?
FAU, yeah. All the way to the Final Four. They victimized Tennessee on the way to doing it in the Sweet 16, and their head coach is now leading Michigan as the 1 seed.
Even a situation like FAU, I feel like, is going to be pretty infrequent because all of the biggest programs with the biggest budgets are going to poach the best players.
They're the last one. I mean, they're the last true Cinderella deep run.
And that
Florida
was
Atlantic.
4 years ago?
No, it was only 2.
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Okay.
They were a 9 seed in that tournament. So they were a good team. that just went on a crazy run. But I do think, the Loyola Chicago's getting to the Final Four, VCU all those years ago under Shaka Smart. But those were also far and few between. The Cinderella getting all the way to the last weekend of the tournament, not something that happened very often.
I'm even talking about Sweet 16, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're just narrowing the window for those programs even more because they're just losing players left and right. They don't have the budgets to compete.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's a situation that we will find some level of equity as we advance, and the tournament likely expands. I don't know if that's likely, but the plan, at least for the NCAA, is that they want tournament expansion and all these different things. So maybe we will have a situation where one of these programs, one of these darlings pops up. But this is kind of the way that I would describe this Sweet 16 is kind of charmless, right? Where they're good players, there are fun coaches, there are guys who have accomplished a lot in their careers. There's Cal. All of these people, you could say, have some charm to them, but there's not that darling in the tournament this year or for the last 2 years that would make you say, okay, the dream is still alive. One shining moment still lives on through the NCAA tournament. It is going to survive NIL. It feels like we've narrowed our chances significantly.
I was wrong. The FAU run was 3 years ago.
3 years
Thank you,
ago.
Larry, in the F&M Bank chat.
Okay.
The only true upsets, bracket busters, if you want to call them that, in the first round were High Point over Wisconsin, a 12-5, which we know happens basically every year, and an 11-6 in VCU in that crazy comeback against UNC. Iowa busted a lot of brackets against Florida, but like you said, that's a power conference program with multiple Final Four appearances. They've just got a coach and a bunch of players that were just playing mid-major college basketball a year ago at Drake, who was in the tournament a year ago and now basically transferred everybody over to Iowa.
But Drake doesn't get an honorary Sweet 16.
No, not quite. Burning Devil in the F&M Bank chat says Nebraska is the charm of this Sweet 16. And I get that. That's a great story. First time to ever win a tournament game, and now they've won 2, and here they are.
It's still a Power 4 program with a coach that was in the NBA.
Yeah.
And very good players.
No, it's not Florida Gulf Coast dunking their way to a Sweet 16
That's what I'm saying.
Or Wichita State or George Mason all those years ago.
Carey on YouTube makes the argument. He says you can make an argument for Texas. Buck didn't want them in the tournament. Look at Texas's finances.
Yeah. Sean Miller has been everywhere.
Sean Miller is so good.
Yeah.
I think he's been to the Sweet 16 with 4 different programs.
Yeah, and a lot has been made about this conversation, but I'm not any less entertained. Like, the opening weekend
was maybe
still
not necessarily
wall-to-wall entertainment for me. And look, I saw Siena, a 16 seed, push Duke all the way to the end without subbing anybody for the first 38 minutes. It's just crazy. And obviously Duke, was always going to outlast Siena in that specific situation. But I was thoroughly entertained. We got a couple of upsets, maybe not as many as we're used to, but is it a trade-off that we make when we get better matchups in the Sweet 16? Like, we get powerhouse matchups like Duke versus St. John's and Michigan State versus UConn and Michigan versus Alabama. Bama looks like a powerhouse even without Aiden Holloway.
I guess that I'm more prone to just give me the best matchups every weekend in football. Whereas the tournament, I want pure unadulterated chaos.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if we actually crown the best team in college basketball in March Madness. You know what I'm saying? If you end up getting what was the matchup a couple of years ago, like a Villanova, North Carolina, where it's just blow for blow, heavyweight bout type of situation in the March Madness final, then that's great. But I still love the chaos theory that March Madness has been able to provide, and I feel like that's a little less. I get what you're saying about it makes more sense for networks, certainly. CBS can't be upset about the idea of Texas being an 11 seed and that's your Cinderella. It's one of the biggest fan bases in the country. It's one of the most well-financed athletic departments anywhere.
Not a Cinderella.
It's not a Cinderella.
They're just putting it together at the right time.
Yeah. They were god-awful, or maybe not god-awful. They were middling. They were middling at best for the entire regular season, petered out in the tournament, and have made a run, to their credit. But it's not like they don't have the ability, the players, the resources, or the coaching to make that run. They're not a true blue 11 seed, right?
But also, are we only overreacting to 2 years of a sample size? Because NIL existed 3 years ago when FAU was making that run. NIL existed 4 years ago when St. Peter's knocked off Purdue and made that run to the Sweet 16.
We're going on 6 years of that Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty close.
I mean, when was it that Fairleigh Dickinson, was that 5 years ago? St. Peter's beat Purdue in the Sweet 16 in the 2022 tournament. I guess St. Peter's was 2021, but anyway, we're not that far removed from seeing those truly shocking runs happen. So
I could be just prisoner of the moment, but like I looked at the bracket this morning and I was like, it's not chalk necessarily, but these are all major college basketball brands. Like these are all Power Four conference programs. These are all high level institutions that are dumping resources into their basketball teams. They should be here. The biggest indictment of places like Kentucky is that they spent $22 million to not do jack.
Yeah, and if they're not Power Four, then they're St. John's out of the Big East, who has a great basketball history,
coach.
or UConn, who obviously has an elite college basketball history.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe it's just a prisoner of the moment thing, but I there's
came away. Something to that. Like the current climate does make it harder for the Cinderella without question, but I don't think the Cinderella is as dead as people are trying to make it out to be. March Madness will still set up for chaos. Will still set up for the underdog to capitalize on big moments. It may happen less and less, but there is a trade-off there that we are going to get the best matchups, and the best team is more likely to win in the NCAA tournament. I'll take both. There's still some chaos, and we get elite Sweet 16 matchups. I can't wait for these games this weekend.
No, they'll be great, and we'll all enjoy them, and it'll end up being we'll get closer, honestly, this year to crowning the best team in college basketball based on the teams that are left in the field. We have some draft insights and information from Todd McShay about the Titans and Jeremiah Love. Find out next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Best hot chicken in the world. All of their Middle Tennessee locations open as of 11 a.m. But, of course, you can get them across the state of Alabama, Texas, Nevada. Either way, in Las Vegas on the Strip. I saw some people tweeting the Hattie B's account asking for a Las Vegas location off the Strip. But I'm sure they're getting plenty of foot traffic. I think the one, Robert, is the Hattie B's. Have you been to the Hattie B's in Las Vegas? Is it in the Wynn? I want to say
I haven't. Maybe it's the where, or the why,
or the who,
or the how.
That is the question: when, where, how, what, that many people are asking around the NFL draft perpetually, as we are less than a month away from the first round of the NFL draft. Todd McShay, who has been on this radio show, he's got his own podcast. He now has his own website, correct?
The website launched yesterday. That's right.
Okay.
You can go there. It's got his mock draft. It's got his top 100. I believe it has the top 50 evals out with spider charts and what they're good at and what they're not at. Generally, when these things launch, they are very clunky and not clean and hard, not user-friendly. I perused it for about an hour yesterday, reading their write-ups. I love the way it's done. If you want to get smarter or you're like, I don't really know what this player does or where they get in at or what they're good at, go look at the McShay's website. He did an excellent job, and they will continue to add write-ups for each player as time goes on. I think they're shooting to add another 50 by next week.
So the podcast is the Todd McShay Show.
That is correct.
And the most recent episode, which came out yesterday, Robert texted us vigorously in the group chat about all the different nuggets.
It was such a good episode
that were in there. I know it didn't seem like you got the appropriate or the response that you were looking for, the requisite level of excitement from Lucas or me.
Don't worry. I texted Zach Lyons, who does like these things, and was like, I can't wait to listen this morning. And he said, oh my gosh, the nuggies.
Do it again.
This time with those nuggies.
So we have nuggies. We have draft nuggies, courtesy of Todd McShay's podcast, which is available wherever you get your podcast. And this one is specific to the Titans and their potential interest in Jeremiah Love.
I think there are people that have a strong opinion on what Jeremiah Love could provide for a second-year quarterback. And not just his running ability, but also his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and put him with Tony Pollard. And now, we can rely on our run game more. And this is going to take a little pressure off, right? And allow Cam to keep developing. There are people in the building that are looking at it and saying maybe a wide receiver. But specifically with Jeremiah Love, I really think it's going to come down to you got a head coach who's a defensive guy. You've got a general manager who's got to manage all this, and Mike Bargonzi, right? Who we got to know a little bit at the combine, really like him. Not just because he's a master, but like he comes from the right stock. From Kansas City Chiefs, did it the right way. From Boston College to like a very small role in the Chiefs and climbed his way. He knows what he's doing. He's been around a lot of success. So he's got to manage a defensive coach. And then you got Brian Daboll, who it's not publicly, but I've shared very strong opinion on some players in the previous regime and the Giants that he wanted to bring in and that they passed on. Because of those failures, I think the general manager said, well, maybe I need to give the head coach what he needs. And so Jackson Dart and Cam Scataboo in different areas of the draft, trading back into 24, 25 overall to get Jackson Dart. And then in the fourth round, getting him Cam Scataboo. Those were the two guys he wanted. So there's going to be some healthy push and pull in that organization on that pick. If it's not the Titans, the clock starts for Jeremiah Love at 5.
If it's not the Titans, the clock starts for Jeremiah Love at 5. And that's Todd McShay, courtesy of his podcast, The Todd McShay Show. So it's not a revelation to Titans fans to hear that their front office is heavily taking into consideration the preferences of the coaching staff. What was free agency? It was almost exclusively players who had connections to Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll. The exception to that is Lavonte Taylor, who comes to Tennessee by way of New Orleans, where Dave Ziegler who is the assistant general manager here. Ziegler was there for, I think, just a year after he got fired in Las Vegas. So not that strong of a connection. They added 3 corners. 2 of them are starting caliber. So does that you hear that clip and you think what? Like, what's your initial impression? Because my initial impression is there's now competing interests as to what the Titans want to do at the top of the draft because of who's on the coaching staff. And because two people who are both head coaches in their background. And what was the quote from McShay about Dable? He didn't come here to play with sticks. And that's basically what he's got on offense right now. It sounds like, healthy debate is good. And there's no reason to think that it's not healthy debate. But there is clearly competing interests with a defensive-minded head coach that wants to put on a show, right? Because he's calling plays, and this is his whole thing, and he doesn't want to just be the timeout and red flag guy.
Yeah, it really feels like the Titans have two head coaches, right? Doesn't it? With how the esteem in which we hold Brian Dable, and for good reason, with what he's done in his career. And it was as good of a landing spot for the Titans as they could have ended up in terms of the defensive mind that is operating that side of the ball and the offensive mind operating that side of the ball, given the names out there in the coaching world that were available to the Titans. If we told anybody the day after Brian Callahan was fired, Robert Saleh's running this defense next year, Brian Dable's running this offense, every single Titans fan would take it. Absolutely, where do I sign?
I think 1A would have been McDaniel, but in 1B would have absolutely been Brian Dable.
And at the very least, it would have been a discussion. Mm-hmm. So that does make for an interesting pre-draft environment in that building, right? With two guys that theoretically have that sort of input that we've seen directly translate over to free agency. There were more Saleh connections brought in than Dable connections, right? In total.
Schlotman, Robinson, Flott.
The tight end.
Oh, Bellinger. I keep forgetting about Bellinger.
Well,
so,
Bellinger was
Giants.
Yeah, so he's a Dable connection.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm counting Dable connections. Trubisky, so that's 5. Yeah, I mean, there's 17 players added via trade or free agency. The vast majority are one defense, 2 Saleh.
Yeah.
But there are 5 players, notable players that figure to play a consequential role that they brought in for Brian Dable.
But doesn't it make for one of the more interesting, and I'm totally biased in saying this, but to me it could be one of the more interesting rooms, Saleh, Dable, Borgonzi, in the NFL when it comes to those direct conversations about Reuben Bain versus Jeremiah Love, or David Bailey versus Jeremiah Love, or Cardinal Tate, or whoever.
Especially because you've got a general manager. The construct now of the Titans org chart is that the coaching staff answers to Borgonzi, no longer to Chad Brinker or directly to Amy Adams Strunk or anything like that. Borgonzi
He's the guy.
He's the guy. And that's what you wanted. But now you have a situation, let's say Dable wants Love, or Dable wants offense, Saleh wants defense. Borgonzi says, whose side do I choose here? Because do I undermine my head coach and say, well, I don't know, Bob. Feel like this wide receiver or this running back makes a lot more sense for the value at 4 than Reuben Bain with the physical deficiency, or Arvell Reese, who's a prototypical player, but we'll see where he ends up playing, or Bailey, who is he's got more pass rush moves in his arsenal, but he is not an instant impact player by most analysts' evaluation of him. Sound like there's going to be a rush or a specific, NASCAR package, or how he's deployed on specifically passing downs versus how he plays the run, because that's not his strength. So in a hypothetical, I'm not saying that this is exactly how it's going to happen, but in a hypothetical, do you go with the guy that your offensive coordinator wants more if you as the front office think that that's the better choice, even if your head coach disagrees? That's a complicated question.
Yeah, it's not as black and white as if you're going with the offensive guy, you're undermining the head coach. In the end, the offensive guy is very much going to help the head coach win games, theoretically.
But if the defensive coach that you hired, who wants specifically to call defensive plays, bangs the table and says, no, Sonny Styles is going to be the thing that gives us the best chance to succeed in 2026 and beyond. And you say, that's cute, but we want the running back.
Yeah. No, it is. It's very interesting.
It's not as black and white as that, but it's it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And the buck stops at Borgonzi, I guess.
Before we slip off of this audio, we do have Adam Schefter talking about where he thinks it currently makes sense and how it can shift. We can get to that in a moment. But the other piece of interesting news that I got from that clip, this is not the first time I've heard him mention this, so I need to start putting more credence to this, that a wide receiver is in discussion at 4. He has noted that multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I had downplayed, to me, there's only one that makes sense, and it would be Tate. With Tyson's injury and Mekhi Lemon being a slot-only player, it's Tate. So Tate is in contention for that 4th overall pick, where I previously would have pushed back and be like, no, you don't take him there.
Oh, Mina was maybe not adamant with us on the show at the Combine, but she was like, I'd take Tate there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cardinal Tate, the next JSN? Ohio State receiver?
Nah.
Maybe getting undervalued in the draft? No, Cardinal Tate will probably go before JSN did.
Well, yeah, that's
I will bet
not.
you all of the money in my pocket.
Corey Davis went before JSN did. All right, relax.
I will bet you $1, $2, $3, $4, $500.
Dude, I'm telling you.
That is $1 that you crumpled up in front of the microphone.
You see that blue band?
No. You have to remember, I can't really see you. I got a ring light and a glare in front
That's
of me.
100.
Oh, is it? Is it actually 100? What are you?
How many of those do you have?
Who'd you steal that from?
Well, he's got 6.
What?
You got $600 in cash. What are you doing with all that money?
If you're missing out,
all of the money
who did you rob?
In my pocket that he goes before JSN goes. Does anybody want to take that?
No, that's a good bet.
$500 right here.
Oh, it's a pretty solid bet that he goes before 20. Cardinal Tate.
Somebody take it. I want some money.
Dude, he is a prospect that I am just so in on him just because of the situation he's coming from.
Tate?
Yes, and how that has been such a can't miss.
Who's the last Ohio State wide receiver that didn't do well?
Who's the last one? First round draft pick.
The last good one? Or
No,
the last
like the one that didn't pan out.
Braxton Miller.
Okay, yeah.
But he was
a 3rd round pick. He wasn't a 1st round guy.
And he was, what was he before? Was he a quarterback?
He was a quarterback.
He was a quarterback who
and then
moved
week
to receiver.
1, he had that crazy spin move against Virginia Tech.
Oh, it was disgusting.
Probably one of the best spin moves of all time.
Oh, my God.
It was so clean.
Elite. Yeah.
I do not blame anyone for saying that guy, yep, he's a wide receiver.
It's on par with the Saquon Barkley backwards hurdle. Like the most athletic, freakish things you've ever seen in your life. Go ahead.
They also had JT Barrett, who they had to figure out a way to play him at quarterback. And Miller had injury problems and was just an elite athlete, so they moved Miller to receiver and JT Barrett was the quarterback. But if that's the last guy, and he was a 3rd round pick, so who's the last 1st round draft pick at receiver out of Ohio State to not work?
Well, the chat is saying Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think that's premature.
He's very premature.
He's good. He's fine. He literally played with a backup quarterback for half the season last year and
He's
was
not
doing
a
better.
bust.
And was doing better than he was with Kyler. He's a good player.
Very
good player.
He was a problem for the Titans until they switched Snead over on him. That was like one of the few good Snead moments.
So a 1st round wide receiver since 2020. You're looking at Chris Olave, who got taken 11th overall. Emeka Ibuka, who got taken 19th overall.
Yep.
JSN, who got taken 20th.
Yep.
In 2006, Antonio Holmes at 25. And then a bunch of these dudes are before 2010. I'll omit them. But Curtis Samuel was a 2nd round pick. Michael Thomas was a 2nd round pick. Paris Campbell was a 2nd round pick. Terry McLaurin was a 2nd round pick. No, Terry McLaurin was a 3rd round pick.
So many good
That's
ones.
crazy that McLaurin was a 3rd round pick.
Did you say Garrett Wilson?
I did not even include him. He was taken 10th overall.
There's so many, and they're all good.
Ed Ginn in 2007.
They're all good.
Taken at 9. Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask Carolina Panthers fans if Ted Ginn is good, no. They think back to that Super Bowl season.
If they were coached by Brian Hartline, they're good in the NFL. So, like, that to me is – and I watch Cardinal Tate, just from the Ohio State games I watched. I'm not crunching the tape on the guy. Sure. But that is one that I am bought in because of that well. Dip into that Ohio State receiver well before it runs out with Hartline taking the head coaching job at USF. It is basically Cardinal Tate and Jeremiah Smith, the last ones out of that line.
Would any of the 3 of us, have an overwhelming objection to Cardinal Tate at 4? I would not.
No, man.
Overwhelming, no. But do I think they could get better value elsewhere? Like, are the chances, if you're looking at how high his ceiling could be and how low his floor could be, do I think that you could get someone with a little tighter window of higher floor, lower ceiling? Yes, I do. But again, I'm going to. Mike Borgonzi did nothing last year that makes me think, okay, that guy doesn't know ball. That guy doesn't know what's best for the team. He's not building through ego. He's building for the future. He's building for the 4-year outlook.
Yeah.
If they took Carnell Tate at 4, I would trust them. I would trust their evaluation.
If they were picking at like 8 or 9, I'd be so all in on Carnell Tate.
For sure. And that's assuming that he makes it to 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
He's the best wide receiver in the draft.
The Saints, the Commanders, everybody that needs a wide receiver
They're
is
praying.
begging them to leave him on the board.
I get your point about opportunity cost. Because that was basically my whole argument against Devondre Sweat. It's like, okay, maybe he turns into something. But for the players that are still on the board at 38th overall and the trade that you passed up that would have netted you additional value and still allows you to take a quality player in the low 30s, then Sweat wasn't worth the pick. Now, 2 years later, that's easy to say because he got traded away and the coaching staff changed. Maybe he becomes something at New York and he's worthy of the 38th overall pick. But I get what you're saying. I just think that there is inherently, I don't, this is the only place that I knock Jeremiah Love for being a running back is that your runway as a wide receiver is so much longer than a running back, just positionally. The positional value is the argument for Carnell Tate. If I had to stack them, like players that I would be most interested in the Titans taking, I would probably go, assuming that all of these players are here. I love Sonny Styles. That'd probably be my first choice. I think I would go Carnell Tate, Reuben Bain, Jeremiah Love in that order if I had to stack them. All good options. All good options for a team that just needs good football players. And then, of course, the idea that, Lucas, I know you're going to talk about at 12:20, which is your opportunity, your Simpson mania that's being propagated on the internet, giving you your trade back possibility. The Yoda in the studio.
Trade back, I will.
Did you see they're making a Grogu and Mandalorian movie?
I hate to be this person, but I put all that stuff on my block. I don't want to see any of it, man.
I was so disappointed to see that. I was like, it was just good. Leave it alone. It was good.
It is sad to realize that we are really exiting the golden age of television because now, not to say that television isn't good, but there is so much fluff out there to watch. Like at any time, you could turn on Apple TV, HBO Max, Hulu, and find a new show that no one's watching and go, holy crap, why is no one talking about this? But there's so much stuff.
So much.
Like Game of Thrones might have been the very end of the golden age of television because there was still a lot of stuff, but we all had a unique vision. We all had a unique, I'm going to sit down on the couch. I'm going to watch it. We're all going to talk about it. We're all like Breaking Bad. Veep, like all of those shows like that. And now we have moments instead of having...
Well, now you're filling content buckets. Now Disney bought these things and has like a requisite amount of Star Wars content that has to be, shuffled off into the universe, kind of like Marvel.
True. I think Game of Thrones might be the last show, truly, where it was like a point, like you were sitting there waiting for it to drop at 8 p.m. or whatever it was on a Sunday. I don't know that we'll have a show like that again, where it's that broad and communal.
And we've got people in the chat, Dixie, saying that, hey, House of Dragon is fire. I'm sure it is, but there's
solid.
not enough time to watch. And
it's not great.
Yeah, it
my
didn't
whole
keep
thing
me.
is it is an offshoot of something that was successful.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Star Wars is doing, same thing that Amazon's doing with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They're starting this Harry Potter episodic
There's already
thing.
two between House of Fire and what's the other one called?
I don't know.
The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Which is good. It's House of Dragon and Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is very good. The first season was very good.
And they're both, I watched Night of the Seven. I watched them both. They're both solid, but they're not Game of Thrones. They're not, we would do on, after we would do the A to Z live show, we used to do Game of Thrones reaction shows because they would do huge numbers. Like that was a communal event. It was like watching sports together. You could react to it on Twitter and things like that.
Severance, The Pit is getting a shout.
But these are good shows, but what you're saying about appointment television viewing, like we do not all come together on Monday morning and react to the episode of Severance. I got to Severance 2 years late, and I loved it.
I love Severance.
I loved Severance, but I got to it 2 years after it came out. Like it was just kind of like, okay, I'll get to it.
Did I literally not quantify this by saying I'm not saying that television isn't good? I'm just saying that there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how this just devolved into an argument in the chat.
Well, yeah, the chat, here's what it wants to hear. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to participate. Mock Draft Tuesday next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Mock Draft Tuesday? There's no music.
Oh, dang it.
That it's Mock Draft Tuesday. I wouldn't know. We have one.
It has.
Lucas even pointed it out. Field Yates.
That's right. A little variety in this one from Field.
Oh. Remix.
It's just another Mock Draft Tuesday. I wish it were draft day, 'cause that's my fun day. My I don't have to mock day. It's just another Mock Draft Tuesday.
Yeah.
I got to say, your voice is kind of nice in those. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's endearing.
I would say that is one of your more pitchy performances. I will say that you are just good enough to be a bad singer in most of your renditions that we've been trotting out here lately.
In 5th grade, my teacher used to make us get up in front of the class and sing Disney songs. And I loved it.
Just let her rip.
I love
Make a man.
Dude, make a man out of you.
Yeah,
those
banger.
Disney CDs
Mulan?
that had all of them. Or, dude, I can kill. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think
Little
my
Mermaid.
collection's complete?
Yeah.
Oh, if only Frozen was out when you were a little kid.
No, dude.
You would have let it rip on Let It Go.
I'm such
never
an
saw
old
Frozen.
I'm such an old man. I think all of the new Disney movies suck.
They do, but Frozen was good.
I've never seen it.
Because, we were just talking about this in the commercial break. We're going to get this mock draft in a second, I swear. But we were talking about how bad the live-action Snow White flopped, mostly because the actress in it was insufferable by multiple accounts. I never saw Moana, but we are already
Moana
now.
was awesome.
We're already now in a point where there's a live-action Moana. I guess the shelf life on these things. I just saw that advertised yesterday.
Is The Rock doing it?
Yes. Like Skinny Rock, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He looks so
Anemic
weird.
Rock.
He looks so
It's bizarre. Pebble is really good. I feel like these things used to have a longer runtime before we started doing live action Lion King. Like Moana, how old is Moana? Because I'm probably just old now and I don't care about these things anymore, so I don't want, and obviously none of us on the show have kids.
Oh, Chris Stefero says Jungle Book has some bangers. Yes, it does. Should we do a March Madness style tournament with Disney songs like
Yes.
we did with the NFL teams?
Yes, absolutely.
God, people are going to be so mad.
I don't care.
Anyway, great mock draft today, and it's someone that is not oftenly mocked to the Titans.
Oftenly.
Oftenly?
Frequently.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the player that I just said I would prioritize over the other ones. It's Sonny Styles. Field Yates has the Titans going with Sonny Styles after Mendoza, David Bailey, and Arvell Reese all are off the board. He then follows up that with Caleb Downs, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Love to the Commanders. Reuben Bain goes 8th in this mock. So Sonny Styles, and we'll just read the quick write-up. Titans don't have a glaring need at pass rush after trading for Jermaine Johnson and signing John Franklin Myers. I would add parenthetically, I strongly disagree because Jermaine Johnson is fine, but I don't want the entirety of their pass rush banked on a guy who's, I get he's coming off an Achilles 2 years removed from it, but that's not a sure thing if I'm, being transparent. Field Yates adds, but new coach Robert Saleh shouldn't mind more help at linebacker behind Johnson, Franklin Myers, and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons. Styles has put together about as good of a final season and pre-draft process as you could ask for. He dominated on the field in 2025, finishing with the 3rd highest tackle percentage in FBS. Then at the Combine, he posted the highest vertical jump of an off-ball linebacker since 2003, ran the fastest 40 at his position. Styles is instinctive and long. I forgot he's 6'5". That's a big-ass dude in the middle of your defense. At 6'5", with the versatility to cover or blitz as a former safety. I'm on board with this. In fact, I think this is my preference as we sit less than a month out. And I wonder I think Robert Saleh would take any of these good defensive players, if I'm being honest. I think it's whatever the best available player on the board is, offense or defense, we could have that conversation. But Sonny Styles is awesome.
I did see a stat and wonder how you guys feel about this. Marcus Mosher, who does a lot of Dallas Locked On content, put this out there. There have been 29 off-ball linebackers drafted in round one since 2009. I believe only 4 signed a second contract with their team that drafted them. Luke Kuechly in 2012, Donta Hightower in 2012, Leighton Vander Esch in 2018, and Brian Cushing in 2009. In my own research, I have found 2 more, Shaq Thompson with the Panthers and Anthony Barr, who probably didn't show up in his search because he's labeled as an outside linebacker, but a 4-3 outside
And
linebacker.
didn't Shaq, didn't he convert from safety too? Is that right?
I would have to double check that, but he does have a leaner build, but I think he's always been a linebacker, but I would have to double check that. Did I say Shaq Leonard, or did you say Shaq Leonard?
You said Shaq Leonard, and then I asked the follow-up.
It's Shaq Thompson.
Shaq Thompson. I'm sorry. Yeah, Shaq Thompson for the Panthers?
Correct, yes. He is now on the Bills, I believe.
Maybe he was a converted... No,
That would have been Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis
for sure was, but I want to say there was another one a couple of years after them that the Panthers drafted that was a converted safety that ended up playing linebacker. I'm blanking on his name.
But either way, does that conflict you guys on wanting to draft an off-ball linebacker that high? Now, there are probably mitigating circumstances as to why those players did not sign a second contract with their team. I mean, the one that comes to mind for me, C.J. Mosley, who left for a bigger payday in New York.
Yeah,
but does that...
Because Baltimore tried to keep him, right? The tag number was just ungodly.
He got offered like 20 a year, or 15 a year, something like that.
And that was like 10 years ago.
But does that lower the value of a linebacker, especially considering that it's not in the trenches. It's not the immediate impact around the ball. You kind of have to have players around them to open them up.
Yes, but theoretically, you do have the players here to open them up, right? I know John Franklin Myers is on a 3-year deal, and he's 30, or will be 30, and Jeff is closer to 30 than he is 20 at this point. So was that study or research exclusive to first-round linebackers? Is that what you said?
Yes, only first-round linebackers.
Okay.
That feels like one that if you draft an off-ball linebacker like Sonny Styles at 4, that has got to hit big.
Yeah.
As opposed to receiver where...
he's just got to be Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell's an all-pro, which is no small thing, right? But Lions did the Jack, and he's not extension eligible, or he might be coming up on that. He was a first-round pick.
But I think back to the Corey Davis pick at 5 overall. End of the day, Corey Davis did not get you production that you really want out of a top 5 draft pick, but Corey Davis was still a difference maker in the Titans offense, right?
God, how many people that turned their nose up at Corey Davis in free agency would have begged and pleaded for Corey Davis to come back.
And still ended up being the best option for the Titans at that position. I feel like it's different for an off-ball linebacker. If you take one at 4, he can't just end up being a serviceable player. He has to end up being a massive, massive difference maker in your defense and one of the best in the league at his position.
Wouldn't this one project, though, where his measurables, where his athletic testing is similar, it's closer to Calvin Johnson than it is to Ray Lewis, okay? And I know the linebacker has obviously evolved a great deal since Ray Lewis, but just great linebackers. There's no surefire way to know that he will be a sure thing. But is he any less of a sure thing than the players that we are talking about there? Jeremiah Love probably has the best case to be the player that's going to have the instant impact. But if you don't have the offensive line to block for him, does he just become Ashton Genty, where he's getting tackled at or behind the line of scrimmage every other play? That's the arguments for Sonny Styles, I would think. 615-737-1045. Final hour coming up next. Reuben Bain's Pro Day. Speaking of draft prospects, we will react to everything that we saw on the field at Miami. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
12:04, good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs, 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Vanderbilt women's hoops is on to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2009 after beating Illinois 75-57 in the second round yesterday. Michaela Blake's 25 points, a double-double, plus 9 assists. Vandy will play 6th seed Notre Dame Friday afternoon in Fort Worth for a spot in the Elite Eight. Titans made another signing Monday, bringing in linebacker Mahmoud Diabate, the former Cleveland Brown, and the Nashville Predators are back home at Bridgestone tonight, hosting the Sharks. Preds are riding a 4-game win streak, and they hold the second wildcard spot in the West. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
So we are now in the midst of Pro Day season. Vanderbilt had theirs on Saturday. I saw a lot of local media. I saw Cam Ward was at the Vanderbilt Pro Day, as a matter of fact. So you had Diego Pavia, you had Jared Curtis, you had Cam Ward in attendance. 3 different levels of Nashville quarterback play. Miami's Pro Day, which is, of course, at least of some interest to a segment of the Titans fan population. Miami's Pro Day was yesterday. NFL Network was on site. Our friend Cam Wolf of the NFL Network sat down with Reuben Bain. We'll hear a portion of their conversation here in just a second, but Reuben Bain is one of the more interesting, more polarizing draft prospects that we have to talk about this year. A highly productive player, incredibly effective player during his time on a Miami defense that was stacked. Reuben Bain, the best player on a championship caliber defense. I know Miami didn't win the championship this year, but it wasn't on account of that defense. It's just Carson Beck throwing the death pick at the end and Mendoza out-toughing the Miami defense en route to that. What was it, a 4th and 5 scramble for the touchdown?
How those arms measure out?
So for Bain, the 30 7/8 inches are the talking point, right? That's the arm length measurement. Because in recent memory, I think it's the last 10 years or maybe even since they've started categorizing or cataloging arm length, there has not been a Pro Bowl or all-pro caliber first-round pass rusher with sub-31-inch arms.
I don't think there's ever been.
Okay.
What you said is correct, but there has never been a player with that arm length at edge rusher selected in the top 10.
Yes. So Reuben Bain has sub-31-inch arms and is being talked about as a first-round pick. He will almost assuredly be a first-round pick, if not a top half of the first-round pick, right? Nobody expects him to fall past. I think we're talking 10 at the latest for Reuben Bain.
Let's see, where did Field have him going?
I think it was 8th in his mock draft.
8 to New Orleans.
And that's fine because they're going to be looking for a Cam Jordan replacement, and they're not the same kind of player, but they're obviously in the edge market in New Orleans. So Reuben Bain works out, and he does all the things that Reuben Bain has done his entire career. And there's nothing to really nitpick about Reuben Bain's workout. So he's asked by Cam Wolf, Robert at your convenience, about the detractors for Reuben Bain, or the detractors that there have been for Reuben Bain, just simply based on the length of his arms. And this was Reuben Bain's response.
I'm laughing because I talked to your coach, Jason Taylor, before, and he was talking about how all ball you were. And he said one example is, he said 3 years they've been getting on you with your haircut, saying that you might look homeless. I know there was a viral meme for the combine. He said that's an example of just how focused you are on ball. What is that element of you and how important ball is to you?
Ball is real important, man. This is what I do each and every day. I'm just so fortunate to wake up and play football for a living. Thank you to God, but this is an opportunity I don't take lightly, so I gave my all to football because football gave us all to me. Just each and every day waking up, making sure this is one of the priorities for me if it's not God and my family. Just understanding what I got in front of me and never taking it for granted. And football has been so good to me, so I could give a damn about a haircut. All I want to do is know what team I'm going to so I could get right.
Okay, so let's talk about teams, right? Because there's everybody out here wants to know where you're going to go. You know, you got 2 teammates or you got a former teammate in Cam Ward that's with the Titans. I heard Jeffrey Simmons campaigning for you. What would you think about the Titans, or where do you kind of picture yourself?
Well, first, anywhere I go, it's a blessing, lifelong dream come true for me. But to play with Cam again and Jeffrey Simmons and JFM, with those caliber guys, it'd be nothing short of a blessing, just an opportunity where I could come in and try to earn their trust and earn the coach's trust and show from day one, I'm here to help. I'm here to help, and I'm here to get us a go to the Super Bowl, and that's all I want to do. I want to win wherever I go. I feel like I got the kind of mentality and the skill set to do it, and I would love to just earn those guys' trust and show it to them, because Cam always tell me, every time you see me, he say, we coming to get you, man. So hopefully his word hold up, and wherever I go, I'm going to just give my all to that program.
Man, that would be fun. I'll tell you what, talking to coaches, scouts here, they all raved about you. They said, I don't care what people say about length or height. They said the power shows up. The ball shows up.
Yeah, man, like Mike Tyson. He wasn't the most tallest. He wasn't the tallest guy, or wasn't the longest limb guy, but when you felt him, you felt him. And you wish you kept your distance.
Absolutely. And a lot of offensive players don't want to feel Reuben Bane. Thank you for the time, man. Excited to see where you go next.
Okay, so that's Cameron Wolfe of the NFL Network sitting down with Reuben Bane at the Miami Pro Day. Mike Tyson comparison.
I like the haircut comment, for sure.
All ball.
All ball, baby.
And now, that does fit.
Would resonate.
Sure. Cam continuing to, is it too far if I say gaslight him by saying we're coming to get you when he has
no power over
when
the
Mike
situation.
Borgonzi has said, sometimes Cam talks too much.
Hey, he came and got his other teammate. He said he was going to come get.
That's right.
Which one? The one that didn't get drafted and ran a 4.8?
Yeah.
Why do you hate Xavier Restrepo? You seem to really have a personal vendetta. Like, what did this man do to you? No,
it really is unfortunate, because I would understand why my tone would indicate that it's of a personal nature, but I think the conversation is a wasted one, is all I mean.
Like, a Titans fan hasn't brought up Xavier Restrepo in, I don't know how long. Man, still talking.
When's the last time he played Seattle?
The
Did he play
venom
in
in your
Seattle?
voice when you bring up Xavier Restrepo. Like, dude's just trying.
No, it's
just
not
trying to make it.
It's not venom. It's the same way that I talked about Mason Kinsey for how many years? It's like, okay.
Well, they're trying to replace them both. You saw who they worked out today.
Oh, who's the returner that they brought in?
Caden Davis, an exciting white.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what his nickname is?
Split the baby then. Well, he's exciting white.
His nickname is White Lightning.
Oh, former.
How many White Lightnings have there been, though? That's like white chocolate. It's overused.
Well, he's got the nickname on PFR, so.
Well, he is the Mason Kinsey of basically the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
This dude started at Butler Community College, then went to Northwest Missouri State, where he was undrafted in 2022, bounced around from the Denver Broncos to the Michigan Panthers in the USFL, to the Cardinals, to the Lions, to the Broncos. Last year, he was with the Browns.
He did not make his NFL debut until 2024 as a 26-year-old player.
Respect, man.
By the way, no one should take my comments that they're trying to replace their returners seriously, because he has returned 4 kicks in his NFL career. No punts.
And of course, the war criminal is always an option.
Nah, he's gone. He's gone. See you later.
Who did you say you were going to treat like James Prochet this year? I say war criminal because Robert has been treating him like a war criminal for an entire calendar year.
Throwing an interception during a Ravens trick play.
Austin
years ago.
Dookie Soup Deculus is going to be my war criminal of the year. If that guy has to play tackle for you, just go ahead and pack it up.
He's so bad. I mean, the Chargers were down tremendous, and he was the worst of the Chargers lot.
Austin Duculus.
It's terrible. It's just trying to make it. Why the venom? Why the venom? Why you make it personal?
He had his chance. Or a chance Restrepo never got.
All right. So the Reuben Bain Pro Day, he didn't run the 40 at the Pro Day, didn't run the 40 at the Combine. He didn't do most of the testing. He was catching passes. Did you see that yesterday? Flipped his hips. He looked like a defensive back out there. The way that he got his hips turned back towards the line of scrimmage, like in a heartbeat. Guy can move.
So you got Cam Ward campaigning for Reuben Bain. Jeffrey Simmons told 3HL, I believe at the Super Bowl, that he's all in on Reuben Bain, which he said last year about Abdul Carter. That was pre-free agency.
Yeah, and also the Abdul Carter thing was, I don't know. I'm good on that.
and he is all ball all day. So I don't know.
You don't sound inspired.
Titans are going to get a good player at 4.
Okay.
So I'm not getting like super beat up on. I'm going to, I'm not like super locked in on one specific player. This is an interesting draft at 4.
Lucas and Robert are going to take it over the rest of the way. I'm going to run over to the new Nissan Stadium. They're doing a stadium tour, so we will have updates for you on social media with sound, I promise this time. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
So we do this every year in the lead up to the NFL draft. There's one player, it's usually a quarterback, whose narrative is just spun and spun from February to April, and he never ends up landing in the spot where we expect him to when it's all said and done. Last year, it was obviously Shedeur Sanders. A couple of them have ended up as Tennessee Titans players, right? It was Will Levis in 2023. It was definitely Malik Willis in 2022. It seems to be Ty Simpson in 2026 that we are going to talk into oblivion about where Ty Simpson is going to end up. And in all likelihood, he's going to end up somewhere that is not whatever the consensus is going to be by mid-April. Welcome back to the show. Buck has scurried off to the new Nissan Stadium where there is a media tour taking place. Lucas and Robert with you until 1 o'clock. We are, of course, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, your go-to to fuel your watch party when the hoops action starts back up this weekend. So, as of right now, March 24th, 2026, Robert, where would you say the majority percentage is on Ty Simpson, on whereabouts he will land in the NFL draft?
Ooh. I mean, I think it would span over 2 rounds. I think it would go from, right now, anywhere from 20 to 40, somewhere in that range. He could be a late first-round pick, someone that teams target to move up from the second round back into the first round to get, or he could be a guy that waits until day 2 to hear his name called. Anywhere in between.
You can jump in on YouTube, 104.5 The Zone TV, the F&M Bank chat, if you want to chime in. Where do you think Ty Simpson, as of right now, with the right to change your opinion over the course of the next few weeks, will land in the NFL draft? Now, Dan Orlovsky has given a lot of oxygen to this discussion because the other day he was on Get Up on ESPN, and he came out with some comments, some remarks, and Dan has talked about his affinity for Ty Simpson's tape. But I believe we have this, Robert. He took it to a whole new level on Get Up on ESPN, referring to Ty Simpson as the best quarterback in the NFL draft.
I think when you look at the body of work and what was asked of these 2 quarterbacks, you have to start with the question, who needed to do more to carry their football team to play well? Ty Simpson, and it's not close between those 2 quarterbacks. Who took more games over throughout the course of the season? Ty Simpson. It's not even close. And if we're asking, like, okay, we're trying to see what you are as a player in college and what you're going to be asked to do in the NFL and what translates, I start with what do you do in moments of panic with the football? Because that's really what separates good to great. I would tell you that Ty Simpson is more consistent in that regard. There's not a ton of moments of panic out of Fernando Mendoza. And then there's moments when he immediately drops his eyes and becomes a runner. Ty Simpson more consistent in that. What guy was asked to do more NFL throws? When I say NFL throws, I'm talking 15, 20, 25-yard in routes, crossing routes, deep corner or sail routes. Yeah. Ty Simpson, and it's not even close in that regard. Downfield throws, the posts and the goes, I think they're close. Mendoza throws a lot of go routes, and he's good at it, but I think they're close. RPO, get it out, that's probably what Mendoza's offense was.
Right.
And then I think throwing on the move, they're both relatively equal. So when it comes to moments of panic and big throws, real NFL throws, I think it's clearly Ty Simpson.
So it is, I mean, to be clear, this will get a lot of attention that you feel this way because you are, at this point, I think one of the people whose opinions on this stuff matter the most. And everyone has their opinion, and this is certainly going to be an unconventional one. But you're comfortable saying if you had the choice between the 2 of them, you would take Ty right now.
I would much rather have Ty, and I like Fernando Mendoza. This is not to slight Mendoza. Yeah. I would rather have Ty Simpson at the 15 to 20 range than Fernando Mendoza at 1.
There you go. Dan Orlovsky on ESPN. Banging the drum for Ty Simpson. You took some issue with that.
Yeah, Greeny should have followed up. I mean, like, okay, that's not what I asked you, though. If you're picking number 1, who are you taking? Because the cop-out answer to say, well, I'd much rather have Ty Simpson at 12 to 15, but that's not the conversation. You're alleging that he's quarterback 1. And if he's quarterback 1 and the team picking number 1 needs a quarterback, you should feel pretty confident in saying, yes, I would take him at 1. I feel like he's being a little flippant saying that, oh, far and away better. What was the verbiage he used? Not even close. Mm-hmm. Not even close. Ty Simpson's better. That makes no sense to me. Not even close. And I like Dan. Don't get me wrong. I think he has really good nuggets about things. And before he got into ESPN and he was breaking down plays, he was incredible. But I really feel like the machine has gotten a hold of him, and now he's in a position where he has to say things that are shocking. Oh, you have to say this. Hey, take a point that I'm not taking. Say something that's going to get ESPN or Get Up or whatever show you're on is going to get us some buzz. Say these things. I feel like he gets stuck in these arguments so often where he's a smart guy, but he gets caught with egg on his face because he has to say these things. And I kind of hate it. I kind of hate it because I don't necessarily disagree with his argument. I disagree with how disingenuous the argument is because it's not night and day. It is closer than it is being alleged to be, but it's not as close as you're saying it is.
Yeah, it's a little hyperbolic. I get you there. But to play devil's advocate, could Orlovsky be meaning when he says, I'd much rather have Ty Simpson in that 12 to 15 range, whatever he says, than Mendoza at 1 overall? Could he be basically saying, in other words, I don't think either of these quarterbacks are worth the number 1 overall pick, but if I'm going to take one, I'm going to take Simpson, and I'm not going to do it until mid-first round?
Maybe. Sure. I feel like he could have done a better job saying that. But the question was, who is QB1 in this draft? And at the end of the day, whoever's picking number 1, if they need a quarterback, they're going to take the best quarterback in the draft.
That's just how this works.
Yeah, so like you saying, I would rather have Ty Simpson at 12 to 15 doesn't answer the question. Is he QB1 or not?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is no, he's not. His argument blew up in his face, and he had to add some kind of caveat at the end to make it make sense. But he did get a chance to rebuff this on Pat McAfee's show today. Dan Orlovsky explaining that he texted 12 to 15 general managers about their impact or their opinion, and he had this to say.
I can tell you, and I'm not going to tell you who, but I probably texted 12 to 15 general manager decision-making coaches in the NFL the very simple text of Ty Simpson is QB1 in this class, or the best quarterback in this class, and 2 people got back to me with a disagreement.
Okay.
And the rest didn't respond?
And the rest have quarterbacks? Right. So was it a thumbs up from the people, or was it, like, what was the response?
Yeah.
Attababy Dano! Like, what, was it a positive?
Shh, don't tell them.
Yeah, it was some form of, like, agree.
Some form of agree.
Okay.
Yeah, some form of agree. And I will defend him on this point. Duck Falling points out Creative Artists Agency, CAA, that is also who represents Ty Simpson, same agent for Orlovsky. But at
and
the
not
end,
for Mendoza. So the conspiracies are flying.
Right. But at the end of the day, that's not going to affect how general managers look at him. The only thing that it's going to impact is how different teams' fans look at it if Ty Simpson is their pick for quarterback.
Yeah.
If you're changing people's perception about a player, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's not nefarious. It's not like he's leaking a pot-smoking gas mask video of Laramie Tunzel. Like, he's not impacting Ty Simpson's draft prospect at all. It's not going to make him go higher because Dan Orlovsky's having this argument on ESPN or wherever. Front offices are having this argument in-house anyway. Like, so I understand why you would say, hey, it's a conflict of interest. They're both represented by the same agency, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference when draft day comes around. The only difference it's going to make is the perception of the fan base that selects him and where they get him. So for this example, if the Cardinals do trade back into the first round from the second round to come get him, their fans may be more amicable to the situation because their perception has been altered. Oh, well, I mean, Dan Orlovsky said that this guy was the quarterback 1 of the draft. That's the only thing he's really impacting by doing this.
615-737-1045 if you want to weigh in. Do you agree with Robert? Is Dan Orlovsky just leaning into the extremism for the attention that it garners? I mean, hell, here we are talking about it on this Tuesday on 104.5 The Zone. But we are seeing in real time, we can all agree, the inflation of Ty Simpson's stock, right? I mean, to me, the more you're talking about a guy through this vein, the higher regard Ty Simpson is looked at going through this process. I mean, is that out of touch to say? I feel like this is a similar cycle to what Jackson Dart went through last year, where, if I remember correctly, Robert, Jackson Dart wasn't really anywhere close to in the first round conversation, like pre-combine. And if you were saying Jackson Dart was going to be a first-round draft pick, then it was kind of a hot take. It was like, oh, here's an outside-the-box opinion. And then when it got closer and closer to the draft, it started to be, oh, yeah, Jackson Dart could sneak in there. And then obviously he ends up being QB2, taken after Cam Ward during Shedeur Sanders' free fall. I feel like we're seeing something similar in real time with Ty Simpson. And I will throw myself onto that. And we've talked about this for the last few weeks now. I've been pretty surprised as a, let's say, non-ball knower. I've been pretty surprised at the disparity throughout this process for the most part between Mendoza, where it feels like Mendoza's way up here and Ty Simpson is way down here. Like it's Mendoza, everybody else, then Ty Simpson, and then everybody after Ty Simpson. To me, that surprises me. I feel like if the tape was flipped from last year at Alabama, where Ty Simpson's first 8 weeks were really his last 8 weeks, he would be talked about, he'd be much closer to the Mendoza conversation than the maybe middling back half of the first round conversation. But I just see a guy who may not have the intangibles that Mendoza has all the way, but was efficient, that for 85, 90% of the season was elite at avoiding turnovers, not making mistakes, was hardly ever the reason Alabama wasn't competitive or lost the games they did lose. I don't know. I see a guy that also stayed in the same place for 4 to 5 years and waited his turn, and yes, only has 1 year as a starting quarterback, but was also in the wings for 4 years developing against elite players, future NFL players on scout teams throughout the course of his time at Alabama. I am slightly perplexed at it getting to this point where saying Ty Simpson has an argument to be the best quarterback in this draft seems like a wild take from Dan Orlovsky, but it does. Mendoza is the clear-cut number one. We all still expect him to go to the Raiders with the number one overall pick, but I thought from the jump there would be less distance between the two than there has seemed to be.
Yeah, the argument has never been about Ty Simpson's talent. The talent level that he showcased at Alabama last year is not the issue or what is halting him from being taken higher in the draft. It is the lack of experience, which you noted. And there are a bunch of different caveats you can throw in there to try to lessen that. Oh, his father was a football coach. He's been around it. You noted he played at Alabama and played against really good defenses. But then could you not use that same argument for every player that didn't start until they were a senior on the offensive line for Alabama or at Georgia or at any SEC premier program to say, hey, this guard didn't start till he was a senior, but like look who he was practicing against. Like I don't feel like that really carries as much weight as we want it to. And again, it's nothing about him being a bad player. It's about the lack of experience and then the translation of SEC quarterback to NFL quarterback. You talked about Jackson Dart last year in the draft. And the conversation around him was kind of similar to what we heard around Tyler Shuck was, okay, somebody could take him. The Rams were being talked about as a suitor for both of those players, the similar way that Ty Simpson is now, as a guy that could sit back, relax, learn the system, not be pushed to start early in his career. But the argument with Shuck was, Shuck's old as hell. Shuck's a 25-year-old rookie. He's played football. He's played at a number of different schools. He has experience. He has the snaps. And I don't think there's an out for Ty Simpson similar to that.
Now, one interesting thing about this first round in particular, there are multiple teams with multiple first-round draft picks in this draft. You know how many exactly? Can you name them?
Give me the question again. Sorry.
How many teams, which teams have 2 first-round draft picks in this draft?
Clemson?
No, sorry, NFL teams.
Oh, NFL teams. The Jets?
Yep.
The Cowboys?
Yep.
Oh, there's 5 of them. I should know.
There's 5.
I should know.
That's a lot.
The Browns.
The Browns.
And the Chiefs.
Chiefs because of the McDuffie trade.
There's one more I can't think of. Go ahead and give it to
Miami.
me. Okay, Miami.
Miami has pick 11 and pick 30. They traded with Denver for pick 30. I wonder the last time that happened. 5 teams with 2 first-round draft picks. But I just bring that up to pose the question of, could one of these teams end up with Ty Simpson with the excess of first-round draft picks when you consider, okay, Chiefs probably go ahead and cross that out. The Cleveland Browns always should be on the table in these discussions.
And McShay noted that, like not saying that he would like it if he went to the Browns, but it would make sense if the Browns looked at him.
They have 6 and they have 24 that they acquired in that trade with Jacksonville, I believe from last year, right, with the Travis Hunter trade.
That is correct. And I think it's more as we get closer to the draft, opinions can change. People are talking about them double dipping on both sides of the ball because they need offensive line help, they need wide receiver, they need defensive help. Could they land one of those three with their 2 first-round picks and not muddy the waters going into next year looking for a quarterback?
How old's Dak Prescott?
Oh, off the top of my head, I would say 32.
Hey, 32.
God,
32. Look at you. It's just ball knower.
what can I do? What do you say?
Turns 33 in July. So probably a reach to talk about the Cowboys as a team looking for the quarterback of the future with an extra first-round pick. But stranger things have happened. The Miami Dolphins are just kind of a wild card at the quarterback position with how much they're selling off parts and pieces, but they do bring in Malik. They give him that contract.
And it seems like they're willing to have a Dookie year, like shipping off all pieces, like leaving Malik like nothing besides Achane in the background or the backfield to help him out. Yeah. Like they seem kind of okay with having a down year, like tanking without really tanking.
And the Jets have pick 2 and pick 16. Absolutely, to me, a candidate to draft Ty Simpson.
Yeah, just Zach Wilson him. Yep, just throw a guy in there and just completely ruin him, and then hopefully he can have a Sam Darnold-esque Phoenix revivification where he can.
I really hope for his sake it's not the Jets or the Browns that end up with Ty Simpson. But like I've said for weeks now, it should not be so outlandish to think that Ty Simpson could go in the top 3 of this draft. Like, we have seen such crazier things happen at the quarterback position, right? We've seen quarterbacks free fall in more dramatic fashion. We've seen guys see their stock inflate where they're overdrafted so much more dramatically than Ty Simpson going in the top 3. Like, if you told me in the middle of last football season when Bama is off to their 7-0, or I guess they lost in week 1 against FSU, but after they had bounced back and went on that surge and beat Georgia on the road, and if you told me at that point, hey, Ty Simpson, top 3 pick, I'd be like, yeah, probably. I mean, he's right there in the thick of the Heisman conversation. He's leading Alabama against one of the best defenses in the country on the road in Athens. He's not turning the ball over. I don't know. But there are people that are much smarter than me about these things, and those people have not held Ty Simpson in very high regard next to Fernando Mendoza. Ben Solak was one of those guys. We had him on at the Combine, and he didn't think Ty necessarily had the measurables that match up with Mendoza, didn't have the arm strength to match up with Mendoza. He had other critiques of Ty Simpson, but I'm just not going to sit here and be stunned if the Arizona Cardinals, who have a question around their quarterback position, draft Ty Simpson with the number 3 overall pick, or trade back into the first round to draft Ty Simpson with whatever, the number 15 pick or something.
Oh, and you noted this team in the past. I think the one team that you would look at in the top 10 who could make this move that don't have multiple first-round picks would be the Arizona Cardinals. Need a quarterback, in flux, new head coach, want to start off on the right foot. And if you have a doo-doo year to start off, you can always say, hey, but I got the quarterback. Like, let me build with this guy. And I don't want to give all of the juice away because McShay does an excellent job. But he talked about this extensively. Ty Simpson's range in his latest pod. I believe it came out Monday. Go back and listen to it because he gives incredible information without actually like putting an opinion on it. He's just telling you what he's heard, what people are thinking from around the league, and why he had Ty Simpson going in the second round of his mock draft, and why he thinks the Cardinals are a great landing spot for him there.
Interesting.
We did have some free agency news in that. We hadn't had a free agent buzz in a while. Brian Robinson Jr. signing with the Falcons. He was the backup with the 49ers last year, backing up Christian McCaffrey, formerly with the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, former Alabama running back.
So they replace, what's the cat's name? Guy, I can't remember nobody's name today. Signed with the Cardinals, was with the Falcons. BYU running back, had 1,000 yards rushing as a rookie.
Oh.
Somebody in the chat.
Tyler Algier.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So they get their backup to Bijan after Tyler Algier goes to the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, Brian Robinson on the move to Atlanta. Man, how surprised are you that Juwan Jennings is still out there?
Oh, God, I didn't even think about this before you get to that. It's B-Rob and B-Rob in the backfield for Atlanta now. Like, famously, fantasy drafts, people were like, yeah, I want B. Robinson.
Brian Robinson Jr. is who overcame a shooting incident.
Yes.
Right? When he was in Washington.
Yep. He came out to 50 Cents Mini-Men.
Yeah, that's right. That was awesome. I think it was I may be misremembering, but like a home invasion or something insane.
Something like that. I can't remember it. But also interesting that like there was a whole lot of scuttlebutt in Washington when he was traded to the 49ers about he didn't like splitting reps with Jakrowski, Merritt, whatever, or Bob or Rob or whatever. Everybody loved that guy in the preseason. He didn't like being the backup, but then he gets traded to the 49ers, didn't really have a choice in that matter where he was the backup, and then signs with Atlanta, where he also has no choice but to be the backup. So I wonder if all that noise was just that and just noise.
It was an armed robbery. So he was just leaving a restaurant around Washington, D.C., and there happened to be an armed robbery happening involving two men, and he was, basically collateral damage. Got shot in the knee and the glute. And that's right. He made his NFL debut against the Titans that week 5 in 2022. And that was a crazy game. Carson Wentz threw a pick at the goal line. Titans won. And, so I remember that being a big story when the Titans last visited, or that wouldn't have been the last time, but the time before last that they visited the Commanders. Okay, we'll wrap up the show and do some polls when we come back. A little bit of NFL news. It is kind of an end of an era for one team out of the NFC South. Welcome back to the show. Hanging out until 1 o'clock, and then cover 2 with Blaine and Zach will take over. We are fueled, of course, by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Download the Hattie B's app today. Start to build up your rewards. Bucs linebacker Lavonte David has announced his retirement after 14 seasons in the NFL, all with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 36 years old. A 3-time All-Pro, a Super Bowl champion, drafted in the second round out of Nebraska in 2012 to Tampa, retires after the 2025 season in Tampa. This dude, Robert, I feel like had maybe the best possible football path one can have. Like when you talk about taking satisfaction out of a career, was not highly recruited whatsoever, starts at the community college level, is able to transfer to Nebraska a couple years into his college career, ends up being a second-round draft pick. A Miami native, he gets to go back to his home state of Florida to play in Tampa, and then to play for the same franchise from 2012 through 2025, win a Super Bowl along the way, multiple All-Pros. It's hard to draw up a better stretch run than that. If you are to sit there and try and map out what a perfect career could look like, get to be in the same place, build your family in the same place in your home state, win a Super Bowl along the way, win a lot of games, have a ton of success. Lavonte David played in all 17 games last year, each of the last 2 years. He's been pretty healthy throughout the course of his career with a blip here or there, but a Bucs legend hangs it up right after Mike Evans, another Bucs legend and a future Hall of Famer, heads to San Francisco. So interesting times in Tampa with Todd Bowles still the head coach.
He is 4th all-time in tackles in the NFL.
Lavonte David?
1,172.
Who's he behind?
Derek Brooks, London Fletcher, and Ray Lewis.
Wow.
Probably one of the most underrated players in NFL history.
100%. I would not have guessed 4th all-time in tackles. But you play 14 years in the same place with the defensive identity that carries over year after year, and you remain healthy throughout that time. Yeah, I guess that adds up.
Guys that he has more tackles than Brian Urlacher, Takeo Spikes, like Bobby Wagner, who's still playing. He has 22 more career tackles than Bobby Wagner does. Brian Dawkins, Eric Weddle, Antoine Winfield, Demario Davis, Derek Johnson. Like he just blows all these other dudes' numbers out of the water as far as tackles go.
He holds 8 Bucs franchise records. Theoretically, in the F&M Bank chat, says put him in the Hall.
He probably deserves it.
Lavonte David. I feel like that's one that you would say that, and everybody's initial reaction would be like, what? Lavonte David? No. But then, yeah, when you start to look at it.
Is Derek Brooks in the Hall of Fame?
The all-time lead tackler in the history of the National Football League?
No, the Ray Lewis is.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you counted 3-1 there.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
yeah,
I apologize.
He was
yes.
in his first year. He was the first ballot. Okay.
And then who was the other one you said?
London Fletcher, I believe. Yeah, London Fletcher is second. So Ray Lewis is first with 1,568. London Fletcher is second with 1,384. Derek Brooks is third with 1,300. Okay. Lavonte David with 1,172.
London Fletcher, not a Hall of Famer. He is in the Commanders, what they call the Ring of Fame, but not a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Also another one of the most underrated players. He just played in that era with Ray Lewis and was dwarfed by him at every opportunity. Where Ray was taking the All-Pro 1s, London Fletcher was relegated to All-Pro 2s. In fact, he never made an All-Pro once in his career. He was only an All-Pro twice, and those were the third and second last years of his career.
Man, interesting times in Tampa. 12 years of Mike Evans, 14 years of Lavonte David. End of an era. So a great career comes to an end. The Nashville Predators tonight begin a homestand coming off a 4-game win streak where they suddenly hold the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference. The Preds host the Sharks tonight, 7 p.m. The puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. They'll host the Devils on Thursday, the Canadiens this Saturday before hitting the road to the Lightning. Less than a month to go in the regular season. So suddenly the Preds are in the mix for the NHL postseason. We'll see what happens tonight in downtown Nashville. Let's do some polls.
The polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the most trusted Ford dealer in all of the South. Buck did not put these polls out until about an hour ago, so limited number of responses. But will NIL make March Madness Cinderellas extinct? 54% of the audience say no. 45% of the audience say yes. How do you feel?
Extinct is too strong of a word, but yeah, no question. It feels less and less. We had a kind of a fever dream of a run there where St. Peter's made that run to the Elite Eight, followed up by Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue, the 16 over the 1 seed. Purdue victimized in both scenarios.
Who was the shocker team? They were dunking on everybody, shocked the world.
Wichita State are the shockers, but are you thinking of Florida Gulf Coast?
Florida Gulf Coast is who I'm thinking.
Dunk City, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yep.
So I do think we're going to see it less and less. There are no Cinderellas in this year's Sweet 16. The upsets, the first round chaos, I don't think that's going anywhere. But there's no question when you've got, mid-major coaches being hired and taking away so much of the core of their roster and immediately infusing them into power conference basketball teams. Yeah, I mean, that's one mid-major team that could have been a prime candidate to be one of these Cinderellas that is kind of off the board.
When is the last time a Cinderella won the whole thing? We talk about Cinderella runs, but very rarely do Cinderellas ever win the whole thing anyway.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen. Could you call Butler a Cinderella? I mean, they made the national championship game back-to-back years, and those are their only 2 Final Four appearances, their only 2 Elite Eight appearances, and Butler hasn't really been heard from since. It was just kind of this spell.
Those teams were really good, though.
They were so good. I mean, they were just so talented.
Hard calling them a Cinderella anything other than optically.
You're right. It's just because it's Butler and where they are now. But obviously, those Gordon Hayward teams were some of the best in the country.
What in sports made you say, oh, no? We only got one response, but it's Chad Burgett saying, anytime Mark Pope speaks. Looks like they are tired of Mark Pope.
Yeah, Kentucky fans are fed up with it, man, and they should be. The amount of money they poured into that roster, your head coach is saying that you're nowhere close to banners at the moment. Yeah, the vibes are not good in Lexington right now. Man, Butler hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since 2018.
Fill in the blank. The hype around Ty Simpson is fair or a media creation. 71% of the audience says a media creation. 28% say it's fair.
I think it's fair because I think Ty Simpson's a really good player, and I feel like he's been undervalued from the jump. Maybe he's not Fernando Mendoza, but the recent discussion of him being the best quarterback in the draft probably is media creation more than fair.
Oh, especially in a class that lacks top-end talent. Like, it's not a bad draft because there's not superstars in it, but in a class that lacks that, you would hope that he would rise above. What is your current feeling on the Titans drafting Reuben Bain? Got a number of responses here. Kaz saying any of Reese, Love, or Bain would be perfect. Mr. First Down says not high, I think. And Dennis Kuyman Gomes says less eager than 2 months ago. So opinions waning. My opinion gets stronger. I think that is the pick at 4. The closer we get, the more I think Robert Saleh is the head coach. He wants to start with a bang. It's his show to run. He's a defensive guy. I think Bain is the pick at 4.
He could check a lot of boxes on what the Titans have shown they like in a player on and off the field. All right, those are the polls.
Those are the polls.
And that's the show. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. We will be back at it tomorrow. Cover 2 with Blaine and Zach coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair? The courtroom is where I play ball.
Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no roof.